Welcome to today's episode of Friday Live. Are you here? Can you see me? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, put it in the comment section that you can hear me and you can see me. And I'm excited to meet you again on this beautiful Friday. Every Friday like this, we come sharing something about marriage. We talk about one topic on marriage. We pick it, we talk about it, we dissect it, and it does a lot of good to a lot of people. Have been having testimonials, people saying, you know what, I heard you teaching this at the Friday Live and I implemented it, and this is what it has done for my marriage. I heard you teaching this and I stopped doing it. I changed my way, and this is what it has done for my marriage. So again today we are going to hear another thing that happens in marriage, or that we should handle in marriage, and I hope that you will also pick something. So, have you invited somebody? And I see all of you greeting me. Good morning to you from all over the world. I greet you all. If you have not yet invited somebody, just send this link right now. Forward it to somebody, forward it to your groups, your church groups, your alumni groups, your siblings groups, your family group. Share it everywhere so that somebody can come and learn something. And today we're taking very, very importantly the topic, the little foxes that spoil the vine of marriage. The little foxes that spoil the vine of marriage. And in case you don't know, my name is Kunle Ologe, marriage counselor and founder of the Marriage Seal Academy. So I know that there are some people that are just joining us now, and I'm introducing myself so that you know who I am. Now, of course, as usual, we don't want to waste time. You know, we only take 1 hour of your time on Fridays like this because we know you're still working. So you've just taken a little break to listen to us. And I say thank you for that, and you will not regret it, right? Okay, so the little foxes that spoil the vine of marriage. Marriage is a beautiful thing that is supposed to bring joy, that is supposed to bring sweetness, that is supposed to bring bliss. Just like a grapevine. And you know, a grapevine brings that beautiful grapefruit that we eat, we use for wine. It's delicious. So a grapevine is something that everybody cherishes, right? Good. So marriage is like that grapevine. Beautiful, blossoming, spreading, growing, bringing forth beautiful fruits. However, if the grapevine is not guarded against foxes, foxes can destroy it. And you know, foxes are those small dog-like animals, yeah? Okay? And they are omnivorous. So they eat flesh, they eat fruits, they eat grass, they eat plants. So they are omnivorous. So they eat everything. They're like human beings. They can eat everything that we eat. And they love vines. They love going to eat the vines. And when they come, because they are foxes, they're not human beings. You know, human beings, when human beings want to pluck fruit from a vine, you pluck it gently so that the vine itself doesn't get. But the foxes don't care. The foxes come in and they just destroy the vine, whichever way that will allow them to get that grapefruit, they will get it, and they don't care what happens to the vine. And these foxes are also in marriage. Yes, you heard me right. These kind of foxes are also in marriage. Let's go to the Bible, that part of the Bible that talks about foxes, right? So it's in the Songs of Solomon chapter 2 and verse 15. Songs of Solomon chapter 2 and verse 15. And it says, "Take us the foxes, the little foxes that spoil the vines, for our vines have tender grapes." Marriage has tender grapes. What it means is that everything about marriage is tender. And if you don't guard it, it can easily spoil. You know, it takes a lot to build up a marital relationship, especially when the spouses were not really friends before they got married. So you and your husband, you are not really friends. You and your wife, you are not really friends. But somehow you got introduced, you got married. So you are supposed to gradually start building that friendship. So it takes a lot to build that friendship, and it's tender. The littlest things can actually rupture that friendship. And that's why instead of you to allow those little things to come around, you just put boundaries. You stop them from coming around, or else they'll mess up that marriage of yours. Remember, to build a skyscraper, just to build the foundation of the skyscraper, months will go into it. In fact, before you start seeing the building grow out of the ground itself, you'll be wondering, what are these guys just doing here? You just see excavators and you're just wondering. They seem to be pouring cement, but you can't see it. They are pouring the foundation. And when they pour into the foundation of the building, then it has a solid base to now build on. And they can continue building now that building maybe for the next 1, 2, 3, 5 years, depending on how big the skyscraper is. However, that same skyscraper, in a few seconds, putting fuses, putting bombs just in the right places, can bring that skyscraper down. That's why you need to guard against it. And you see buildings like that, you see that the security around the buildings is much, because they don't want just anybody getting into the building and messing the building up. That is how marriage should be guarded. The marriage between you and your wife, the marriage between you and your husband, you must guard it. You must fortify it in such a way that nothing gets around it. Nothing gets near it. And when I say nothing, I'm talking about the negatives. Nothing negative comes around it. You need to guard it. It's the Bible that talks about your heart, guarding it with all diligence, because out of it comes the issues of life. Same way you guard your heart, you must guard your marriage. You must guard your marriage, or else those little foxes will mess up your marriage. And like I described foxes, they're small. They're even smaller than dogs. They're very, very small, but they come in their packs. And when they come, their destruction is enormous. I mean, if foxes get into your vine overnight, by the time you wake up in the morning, you can't recognize that it's a vine again. It looks like bramble bush all around. You just see the the stems, all around, messed up, wrangled and broken. And it is difficult for that vine to recover again. If it must recover again, you will need to prune away all those things that the fox has grown or has destroyed, and begin again to groom the plant, which may or may not come back up. I've had the opportunity as a marriage counselor to counsel a lot of couples. For some of them, when they come with their problems, we are able to resolve it in just one session. And then I tell them what they need to do, and they do it, and they're okay. But for some others, in fact, for 1 year, we're still working on it. I have couples that have been working with me for the past 1 year plus and counting. And we're still trying to resolve their issues, because their issues became so bad. They allowed it to become so bad. And so we're having to pick the pieces here and there and trying to put it together. Yes, it's working. Yes, by the grace of God, that those marriages are resurrecting and the relationships are rebuilding. However, would it not have been better that you guarded against it all at once, so that you don't even have to start resolving so many problems for 1 year plus? Now, let's look at some of those little foxes in marriage. So what are those little foxes in marriage that can actually mess the vine of marriage? We're going to look at a few of them. Of course, there are many. Foxes, they come in groups, So there are many. However, let's take a look at just 10 of them. Number 1, little fox, lies. Lies. And somebody please help me put it there in the comment section as I'm saying it. Number 1, lies. So when you introduce lies into your marriage, or you allow lies to come through your marriage, you have introduced a little fox into your marriage. And it's just a matter of time. It will destroy the marriage. Oh, by the way, you don't need so many foxes to destroy a vine. Just one fox, given the opportunity, in one night can mess up your whole vineyard. Yes, just one fox. They can be very destructive. So just one lie allowed in the marriage can mess the entire marriage up. And there are a lot of marriages, maybe even some of you are listening to me, you have that experience, that it is lie in, lie out. So maybe your husband is a grand chief liar. Your wife is a master liar. Now, when you bring in lies, you break trust. You destroy it. So every lie you tell in your marriage, you may think it's small, just a little lie here, a little lie there. Oh, your husband gave you some money to buy something. You lie that you have bought it, but you've taken out of it to buy something else. You and your wife, you've agreed that you're going to have some savings somewhere, but you are going behind her and dipping your hands into that savings. And when she says, is the savings intact? You say, yes, it's okay. There's somebody, your ex sends you a message, your wife is saying, who is that? You say, oh no, it's just the company secretary. I mean, I'm just randomly calling, trying to describe what lies are. When you introduce lies in a marriage, it will destroy the marriage. It's a little fox. And when one person starts lying, you are encouraging the other person to lie. You know that, right? So why, if you start lying, you are just encouraging your husband to lie, because whether you like it or not, your spouse will know that you are lying. It just takes a little time, but your spouse will know that you are lying. But how long do you want to keep up with that? How long do you want to keep up with the lies? So lies are very, very big foxes, giant foxes in a marriage. And these are one of the foxes that you should not allow to come near your marriage for whatever reason. Lies. Let's look at the next fox in marriage. Anger. Anger. Yes, well done, oh. That man that is always angry. When you are angry, you are shaking the whole house. Nobody can talk to you. Your wife can't talk to you. Your children can't talk to you. People even try and intervene. Your anger is too much. They're even afraid. They say, just wait, let him cool down. You are the type that it takes you 1 month to cool down. Please be removing 1 month from your marriage. How many more months are left there? You take 1 full month. You are angry with your wife, and you are so angry you don't talk to her. You don't. Anger is a fox in marriage. It's a fox. And anger can be very destructive, because when you are angry, the wrong things come out of your mouth. When you are angry, you lift your hand against your spouse. You are so angry as a wife, you carry your husband's gadget, you throw it on the ground. Violence, according to in our Nigerian parlance, violence, because you are angry. And everybody is saying, this is your anger control. You say, no, just leave me. When I'm angry, this is how I am. Just leave me. Let me express my anger. Well done, no? Imagine if the whole world is expressing their own anger also. Will you survive? Yeah. I'm talking to you. Yes, you. That your anger, when your anger comes, nobody can control you. Your spouse cannot talk to you and calm you down. Your parents cannot talk to you. Siblings cannot talk to you. Nobody can talk to you. Because according to you, that is the way you are. But you do not realize that if everybody decides to get angry like that, you won't survive it. No, you won't be able to survive it. You in fact, if the people in your house, let's say you are the wife and you are the one that is always angry, just imagine, just in case you are here, just imagine that your husband gets angry also, your children get angry, just the way you get angry, and the whole house is shaking. Tell me if you are going to be able to survive it. You won't. So who says you can't control your anger? And I've always said, I've said it severally on this platform. I'll say it again today. You say, oh, that's the way I talk. That's the way I am. I'm angry. Why is it that when you get in front of a soldier at a checkpoint, you don't get angry anymore? You calm down. Yes, it's you I'm talking to. You're angry at home, scattering everywhere in the house. But a soldier stops you and even tells you rubbish. You tell him, yes, sir. And maybe it's just a recruit, no rank. So it just shows you that you can control your anger. Yeah, you can't control your anger. So stop saying that I can't control my anger. It's not true. You can control it. You have just chosen not to control it. And if truly you can't control it, then go and get help. Go and get help. Come and sit down. Sit down with me in counseling. And let us go through your life and see where this anger is coming from so that we can stop the anger. Because the anger will destroy your marriage. Yes, to destroy your marriage. Let's look at the third one, impatience. That's the third fox we're looking at. Remember, we're looking at the little foxes that spoil the vine of marriage. Impatience. You are not patient. Your wife is cooking. You know it takes time to wash the vegetables, cut the yam. You know, it takes time. It's a process. But you are too impatient. Because of that, you get upset. You call your wife all kinds of names. That, oh, how can I get home? And food is not ready. Meanwhile, this woman also went to work. Oh, she went to work like you. But your impatience has brought you to start saying things that you don't really need to say. Your husband has been telling you, or your husband has said, okay, this thing that you want us to do, just give me some time. Let me put myself together. But you become impatient. And you put the man under pressure. Even in this, our government of Tinubu, you put the man under pressure, put him under pressure, put him under pressure, until the man goes to do something wrong to get the money that you're looking for. Impatience. We must understand that there are times and there are seasons. You must allow the time that is allowable for a particular thing. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes some spouses, maybe a husband or a wife, they now take that for granted, and then they are now spending something that they should use 1 month to achieve. 6 months, they still haven't achieved it. That's not the kind of patience I'm talking about. I'm talking about the kind of patience that is still within the time frame that is allowable for that particular thing to be done. Even changing character. Changing character takes time. So you got married. Your husband has a character, a negative character. And then eventually maybe you people have the opportunity to sit down with a counselor. And the counselor has told you people what to do so that things can get better. And then the day after you see the counselor, your husband still sleeps and makes that mistake. You say, hey, you see? You will not allow this our marriage to work. Didn't we just go and say counselor yesterday? And already you are doing this. Patience. Marriage requires a giant dose of patience. Did you hear what I said? Marriage requires a giant dose of patience. And if that dose of patience is not allowed in the marriage, things will get spoiled that don't need to be spoiled. So many things that don't need to be spoiled. But if you don't allow patience, things will be messed up. So impatience is another fox. Let's move on. The next fox, number 4, malice. The fox of malice. Yeah. I'm sure those of you who have been listening to me over the years, you know that I've always told you people I used to be an MMK, Master Malice Keeper. Yes, when I first got married. So I would keep malice. Talk to my wife for some days until she had to point it out and say, look, we can't continue like this. So this communication is not working. So we need to go and do something about it. Malice can destroy marriages. I mean, there are so many stories of husband and wife who had a conflict. By the way, conflicts are not bad. It is the way we handle them that make them bad or good. So there are several stories of spouses that have conflicts and then refuse to talk to each other. And one of the spouses even dies because they are... I mean, I'm sure you've heard this common one where the wife was asthmatic. The man kept sleeping in the parlor because they had a fight, and had been sleeping in the parlor for days and I think weeks. And one day, while he was sleeping in the house, the wife had an asthmatic attack and died right there in the house. And the man was there. And the man never knew that she was struggling just to go and get an inhaler. And she couldn't reach the inhaler. And she died. Only for the man to wake up in the morning and then try to go to the room to go and take his bath and saw the wife on the ground, stretching for her inhaler. That's what malice can do. That's what malice can do. As simple as malice is, as it looks like, oh, it's just mean, I just don't want to shout, I don't want to do anything, so let me just keep quiet. As little as that is, it can destroy your marriage. It's a little fox. It's a little fox. Let's move on. Number 5, pride. Pride in this sense is arrogance. We're talking about the pride that is arrogance, or the pride that is arrogant. Because pride on its own is not a negative thing when you look at it from the angle of self-worth or self-esteem. So pride is not a negative thing. But when you look at it from the angle of arrogance, so you can look at pride two ways: self-esteem or arrogance. When you look at it from the side of arrogance, it can be a fox, a little fox in marriage. So you are so arrogant that you don't allow your spouse to talk. Your husband wants to talk, you shut him down, because as far as you are concerned, you are more educated. You have PhD. He has only masters. So he should shut up and listen to you. You continue doing that, continue carrying your shoulder up, that arrogance will eventually mess your marriage up. Because your spouse may be quiet. And hey, I've told you guys before, if your spouse is always agreeing to everything, he or she does not have any contrary view, there's a problem in that marriage now. I didn't say he or she must fight with you, but just having a contrary view, as in you say, let's do this, and the person just says, well, can we try this other way? That doesn't happen at all in your marriage. There's a problem with your marriage. You need to sit your spouse down to ask, is it everything actually you agree with, or do you just pretend you agree with it? If you have that honest conversation with your spouse, you will hear your spouse telling you the truth and telling you that, in reality, I'm just keeping quiet because you have shut me up over the years. So that I don't cause issues, I just decide to go with whatever it is that you're saying. But that's not how marital relationship is supposed to be. So, pride is a killer of marriage. Let's look at number 6. Number 6 is selfishness. Selfishness. When you get married, you are supposed to be selfless. That's the other divide. Selfishness, selflessness. So you are supposed to be selfless, which means your spouse should come first before you. When you are thinking about yourself, have you thought about your spouse also? But there are some married people that are very, very selfish. They think only of them. Anything that will benefit them, that's what they are ganging up for. Anything that will not benefit them, they are not interested. And you see, if you go that way, your spouse at a point in time will feel so hot that your spouse will start detaching from you. So selfishness is the 6th little fox that we're looking at. Selfishness. Let's look at the next one. Misplaced loyalty. Misplaced loyalty. Have you heard me saying before that once you get married, loyalty is first to God, then to your spouse, then to your children, before anybody else? Have you heard me? Have you heard me saying that? Yeah. You've heard me? Yes. You've heard me. Put it in the comment section. You've heard me, right? Good. Now, if you don't have this hierarchy in your marriage, you will mess your marriage up. When your loyalty is misplaced, so instead of you being loyal first to your spouse, you are loyal first to your boss, or loyal first to your pastor, or loyal first to any other person than your spouse. The only person you should be more loyal to than your spouse, and that person is not really a human being, is God. Immediately after God, the next person you should be loyal to is your spouse. Not your father, not your mother, not your brother, not your sister, not your colleague, not your boss at work, not your pastor, not anybody. First, you have to be loyal to your spouse. Once this is misplaced, that's a little fox, and it will mess up your marriage. Let me say something about marriages being messed up, because as a counselor, when people come to me, sometimes they come to me when it's or they come to me late. Let me not say it is late, because eventually we're able to work it out, but they come to me rather late. And if only they had come to me earlier, the problems will not have degenerated. So this loyalty thing, if your husband has complained that you are always facing your family, your wife has complained that you are always facing your family or your friends, please sit down and listen to him or her. Because if he is saying that or she is saying that, there is something you are doing that is placing your family or somebody else above your spouse. So don't be angry when your spouse points out that kind of thing. No, don't be angry. Instead, take it as a gift and begin to realign yourself towards that spouse of yours. Did you get what I just said? This is very, very important because it's causing issues in marriages. The next one is infidelity. Do I need to say much? When you are unfaithful to your spouse, you have, in fact, this one is more than a little fox. This one has become a gorilla. And I have defined infidelity as not just having sex with somebody else that is not your spouse, but having an emotional relationship with somebody else that is not your spouse. Yes, some people will say, well, I didn't sleep with her now. I didn't sleep with him. But you did every other thing. You are the shoulder to cry on. You are there for the person. The person will call you like this. You will leave your wife, leave your husband, and you will go and meet the person and help the person out. Meanwhile, your spouse will ask you for that same help. You will not. That's already infidelity. Yes. And have you gotten the book? If you are here and you have not gotten that ebook, How to Stop Your Spouse from Cheating, you need to go and get it. You see it on our online store. You see it on Amazon. How to Stop Your Spouse from Cheating. It's an ebook. It will guide you. Because you must be faithful in marriage. Once you get married, you cannot give your time, your resources, your body to somebody else. These are the things you are supposed to give to your wife. You give it to somebody else. That's a problem. So infidelity is a fox that spoils the vine. The next one is abuse. Yeah. Physical abuse, emotional abuse. When you abuse your spouse, that has become a fox in your marriage. And it will mess your marriage up. Why do you think you can hit your spouse and all will be well? Where did you learn it from? Where did you hear it from? It will not be well. That your spouse does not talk about it again. It is hurting him or her deep inside. And it will be there for life. So sometimes that person is just looking at you and just saying, this guy, haha, this lady. Because you raised your hand on him or her. Or you have used your mouth to vandalize your spouse. That's abuse. And it's a fox. And to spoil the vine of marriage if you don't keep it in check. And finally, number 10. The 10th little fox in marriage is covetousness. Covetousness. You know, when you are always trying to get what your neighbor has, whether you have gotten to that level or not, that's not a very good thing. You just covet. You just want what everybody has. No, life is in phases. Men are in sizes. That's what Bishop Oyedepo always says. You must recognize this and begin to walk within your own size, not without prejudice to planning for the future. Because somebody will hear this now and say, let me just stay where I am. No, that's not what I'm saying. I am saying plan for the future, but don't try and bring the future to today when you have not yet climbed the steps that you need to climb. Now, you can climb the step faster. I may have done it in 1 year. You can do it in 6 months. That's fine. But you must still follow all the steps. If there are 1,000 steps, then you should follow the 1,000 steps. But you see, when you just want what people have, it now has gotten to the point of covetousness. And it will mess your marriage because it will put pressure on that marriage. Unnecessary pressure on that marriage. And eventually the marriage will be messed up completely. Just because you are coveting what other people have. Funny enough, some of those things you are coveting, you don't even need them. Yeah, you don't need them. It's just ego. You just want to have them so that it is mentioned that you have them, but it's not that you need them. Why are you gunning for something you don't need? Why? So covetousness is, again, another little fox that can spoil the vine of marriage. Now, let's look at some of the consequences of these foxes. So you allow these foxes to get into your marriage. What are some of the consequences of these foxes? Number one, distrust. Distrust. When you allow the little foxes to get into your marriage, trust is broken. Take, for instance, the fox of fidelity. You cheat on your wife once, cheat on your husband once. It takes the grace of God for that person to forgive you. And yes, I'm a counselor. I preach that you should forgive your spouse, as long as your spouse is ready to change, because all of us, we were also sinners. However, it doesn't mean it is easy. There are a lot of people I've told, forgive your spouse. They tell me, Coach, I will never. And I feel them. I understand where they're coming from. Because this person has given you himself, in totality, expecting the same reciprocation from you. But you now take yourself and give it to somebody else. How do you want that person to trust you? How? That person is not going to be able to trust you. So one consequence of the little foxes is distrust. Another consequence of little foxes is guilt. Guilt. So when you have done the wrong thing and you consistently do the wrong thing, you are going to be carrying a lot of guilt inside you. And guilt is not very good in any relationship because it also spoils the relationship. When you are always guilty, so you won't be able to do the things you are supposed to do because you're always feeling, oh, maybe my wife knows, oh, maybe my husband knows. So you carry that guilt everywhere. Or you did something to your spouse, like, hitting your spouse or insulting your spouse. And then you carry that guilt, knowing that you did the wrong thing. So guilt is a consequence of those little foxes. Again, you have hurt, deep hurt. In fact, the deep hurt can move to resentment. So resentment is another consequence of having little foxes in your marriage. You will be resented by your spouse. Or if it is the other way around, you will resent your spouse. That's a consequence. And resentment, trust me, is a very strong emotion. Very strong negative emotion. I've had the privilege to counsel many wives especially, and husbands, please listen to me. There are a lot of wives out there that resent their husbands. Sometimes for very little things. Sometimes for things that happened when you got married or just before you got married. But because you didn't have that conversation, that woman is just there resenting you. This is a consequence of little foxes in your marriage. Number 4, fear. Fear. When you allow the little foxes, fear grips you. Fear grips your spouse because you don't know what next to expect. Imagine somebody who has become so malicious. You speak to your spouse anyhow, insult him, insult her. That person will have the fear to even have conversations with you. The fear to even bring up things that are important. The fear to even sit down with you and have discussions. Fear is a big consequence of those little foxes. What else? Separation is another consequence. So, you both of you don't allow yourselves to resolve an issue. One person packs his bag or her bag and says, you know what? I'm leaving this house for you. And the person just goes somewhere else. So you are not divorced, but you are separated. It's a consequence of the little foxes. And then, of course, that now graduates to number 6, which is divorce itself. When one spouse says, you know what, with all these things that have happened, I don't think I can live with you again. Let's get a divorce. That's another consequence. And divorce is never sweet. It's never palatable. Trust me. A lot of divorcees come to me to talk to me and they are lamenting, wishing that they could have found another solution instead of divorce. And yeah, you hear that solution today. You mustn't go for divorce. There are a lot of divorce cases. In fact, I dare say that 90% of divorce cases are not really divorce cases. It's just two people who have refused to reconcile their differences. So these are just some of the consequences of the little foxes. Now, what do you need to do? So what do you need to do to make sure these little foxes don't come near your vineyard? Remember what I said. It is better you prevent the little foxes than for them to enter your vine and then you start looking for how to kill them. By that time, it's going to be difficult. One or two things will have been damaged in your marriage. So what are some of those things you need to do? Number one, let love lead. Let love lead. Let it lead. Because when you put love in front, you will find out that those foxes are not able to come in. Let love lead. Love your husband. Love your wife genuinely. And love is different from being in love. I've explained it to you guys, but for the new people who are just joining us today, being in love is just a selfish emotion. Not in a bad sense, but it's just that it's about you. So you are the one who has emotional feelings for the other person. But loving moves from just being selfish to being selfless. So whether the person does something to you wrong or not, you will still love the person because you understand that this person is me. You know, your husband is you, your wife is you. Yeah? Remember the one of those webinars we had earlier on this year where we talked about the purposes of marriage. Yeah. So your husband, it completes you, your wife completes you. So it is important that you allow love to lead. Just love your spouse. It won't kill you. Love your spouse unconditionally. Love your spouse. Let love lead. And when love is in front leading, you will see that everything else will fall behind. And you will block all those entrances that foxes will want to come from. Number two, seek the right knowledge of marriage. You see this knowledge thing, eh? Knowledge is one of the things that destroys an institution. The Bible says, my people perish, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. When you don't know what to do, you do anything anyhow and you get anyhow results. Did you hear what I just said? Put it in the comment section. When you don't know what to do, you do anything anyhow and you have anyhow results. So there is a way to be married. Yeah. Just like there's a way to drive. You don't just get into a car and just drive anyhow you want to drive on the street because you own a car. Even if it's the best car in the world, they will stop you. Road safety will stop you. The police will stop you. And they will depossess you of that same car that is yours. Yes. Because you are constituting a nuisance or harm to other road users. Do you know your marriage constitutes a nuisance or a harm to your children's marriage? Do you know that? When your marriage is bad, your children's marriage potentially will be bad. It takes the grace of God. And I'm being very sincere with you. Because a lot of people that come for counseling, when I ask them about their parents' marriage, it was a failed marriage. And you can see now, they now have a failed marriage. So you need to be careful. The things you do will affect your children, not just your children, but generations unborn. In the Bible, there were some people that did things like Judah was affecting things. Levi, always getting angry. It affected up to the extent that it affected Moses. Moses went when God said, speak to the rock. Moses went and struck the rock. Anger. So don't pass down your bad marriage to your children. Please, seek knowledge. Read books. There are so many books on marriage. I have about 12 books on marriage that I have written that you can read and it will help you. I have this one, Building Your Marriage Plan. Building your marriage plan will help you. It will show you the direction you should go, how you should plan your marriage. I have wife manual for husbands. Wife manual will tell you how women behave, why they behave the way they behave, and how to actually address, care them, take care of them. I have the sequel of that one, Husband Manual. This husband manual is for wives to read. It helps you to understand your husband, just like the wife manual helps you to understand your wife as a man. I have this one, Three Rivers of Marriage. It talks about the three major issues in marriage: communication, finance, and sex in details. Helps you to build your communication into something beautiful. Helps you to ensure that your finance is solid, where you can build family finance empire. That's wealth for your generations unborn. It teaches you how to make the marriage bed interesting, active, sweet as it's supposed to be. There are so many other books. I have about 12 titles that you can get online, offline. You can get them on Amazon. Read. My wife and I, we entered marriage with so much knowledge. That's why every problem that we had, you heard me when I said I was a master malice keeper. Because we had read a lot, my wife was able to point it out, to say, this thing you are doing is wrong. And I was able to accept that it was wrong because we had knowledge. We read 6 to 7 books before we got married. Did premarital course. Did even paid for communication course. And you are wondering why our marriage is good. Knowledge. So go and get knowledge. We have courses at the Marriage Steel Academy. We have courses like improving communication in marriage. That focuses on communication. We have courses like how to make $1 million for your family. It focuses on finance. We have renewing the marriage bed. It focuses on sex. We have conflict resolution, resolving conflicts in marriage. That's the course title. They are all video courses, so you can watch them. There are so many resources. We have this beautiful course called Marriage Basics, and I'm sure some of you here, some of you have done Marriage Basics. Yeah, you can put it in the comment section there. Marriage Basics. It's a 5-module course that helps married couples that did not do proper premarital counseling, so that they will understand the basics of marriage, the fundamentals of marriage, and begin to rebuild their marriage. Look, it doesn't matter how long you've been married. If you don't know, you don't know. It's just like somebody who has been driving for donkey years, but you didn't learn properly. You will still beat road sign, and they will still catch you. So seek the right knowledge. The next thing is get into an accountability system. A marriage accountability system. Get into a marriage accountability system, because it will help you when you are in a community. You agree with me that when you are in a community, there are some things that community does not allow. Because you are within that community, it means you won't allow those things. Let's say, for instance, there's a community where they don't eat a particular thing. What it means is that nobody will sell that thing in that community. Maybe the thing is injurious to health. Let's say, okay, let's use something negative. So let's say there's a community that does not allow alcohol. And yes, some people will start fighting me. You don't need alcohol. You won't die if you don't drink alcohol. That's the truth of the matter. You won't die. So all these, are you saying alcohol is good or bad? There's no need for argument. It's killing your liver, it's killing your liver. It's killing your kidney, it's killing your kidney. You are still arguing and saying that, we should take a little alcohol. Why take it? Just leave it all the same. So let's say you are living in a community where alcohol is not taken. You will not have access to alcohol, because nobody is going to sell alcohol there. Nobody is going to bring it. But the moment you step out of that community, then you are exposed to those things that community will help you to guard against. That's what a marriage accountability system does for you. And we have one at the Marriage Steel Academy. It's called the Couples Conclave. The Couples Conclave is an 11-month annual program. We do it every year. So we start in January, and all through the year we're together till November. And then we take a break in December. In January, we start again. And we keep ourselves accountable. We put ourselves in that community, so that the negative things that will affect marriage, because you're in that community, won't come near you, since the community also doesn't allow those negative things. You see how community works? Someone is asking, what happens at the Couples Conclave? First of all, it's an online program, so you can join from anywhere in the world. This year, 2024, we have 234 couples. That's about 468 people in the Couples Conclave. Beautiful system. And people's marriages are just blossoming. We're having testimonials. If you go on our YouTube channel, you see some of the testimonials. So this same YouTube channel, The Marriage Seal Academy by Kunle Ologe, subscribe if you've not subscribed. There's so much that you can learn. There are testimonials there. If you go to all our social media handles, you see testimonials of people who are in the couples conclave. We have daily tips that we give you on marriage. We have weekly activities that will almost force you and your husband to at least do something together. But it's fun. It's something fun. So it makes both of you have time at least together once in a week. We have monthly master classes where we pick one particular topic and we teach you on it in marriage. We read books, we review. We have gender conferences. That's the men conference, the women conference. We have discounts on our courses. So once you are part of the couples conclave, you don't pay the same amount as other people who are not part. You get slashes, beautiful slashes on all our courses. And most excitedly, we have the couples retreat. That's the only physical event of the couples conclave. We have the couples retreat that holds once every year. This year we've already had it. We had it just a few 2-3 weeks ago at the Ekpe, beautiful Ekpe resort, and it was beautiful. Again, if you go to our social media, you will see videos. Go to our YouTube, you see videos. The videos are still coming, and I mean, it's beautiful. It was colorful. Marriages we had 22 couples. It was exciting. We went on a boat ride. We had dinner. It was beautiful. So that's what the couples conclave is. So it is an accountability system. And if you have not yet registered for 2025, you see the details scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Please register. These details that are scrolling, there's a number that is there in the details. If you want more information, just put a WhatsApp chat across to that number. Just put couples conclave. My staff will give you all the details you need. Register. It is only 150,000 naira. Only. Somebody shouting, hey, how can I pay 150,000 naira for that? Wait and see how much you will pay when you are trying to process divorce. Wait and see how much you are going to pay a counselor like me, sitting with me, to resolve your marriage. You eventually spend millions. Yeah. But 150,000, divide 150,000 for 11 months. What do you get? Is somebody doing that calculation for me? Divide 150,000 divided by 11 months. What do you get? Somebody put it there. Yeah. So 150,000 divided by 11. That is only 13,630. Yeah. So somebody has put it there. 13,636 every month for all these things that I've said. The only thing that you are not paying for now is the couples retreat. That one is paid for separately. That one, we need to determine what it is depending on where we're going, because we try and rotate it. The year before, last year we were in Abuja at a resort. This year we're in Ekpe. Next year's one, we already are going to Uyo. So we're already making plans. There's usually a committee that handles all of that. So we can't determine how much it is. So that's not part of your 150 you are paying. When we determine it, then we tell you and then you pay for that. But every other thing that I've described, the daily tips, the weekly activities, the monthly classes that you should pay maybe like 50,000 every month for, you are getting all of this for just 150,000. And then you are getting discounts again on courses. And then you have access to me. Yes, you have access to me by chat. So if you are in the couples conclave, you can chat me when you have challenges and I will respond to you. You have all this for only 150,000 in this economy, and you want to complain about it? No, you have nothing to complain about. Your marriage is worth more than 150,000. So ensure you register. Register now. In fact, immediately we're done today. As we're finishing this live session, just quickly put a chat across and register. You can actually book a slot. So if you can't afford the 150 at a blow right now, you can book a slot quickly because we have limited slots, just 300 slots for next year, and already we have over 50 slots taken. So, and people have just started registering. Remember, I said we already have 234 people who are all coming back from the couples conclave. So you want to hurry up and quickly register so that you're among the 300 people. Okay, so you can book a slot with 20,000 naira and then pay the rest. That's the 130 remaining between now and December 24th. Our deadline for payment is December 24th. Again, like I said, you get all the details when you send a WhatsApp chat to that person. So get into an accountability system like the couples conclave. Number 4 of what you need to do, understand the chain of loyalty. Understand the chain of loyalty. I just taught you about loyalty now and how loyalty is first to God, then to your spouse. Understand that chain and please change it if it's not like that. If you are loyal to somebody else, especially your family members, that's your parents, your siblings, you tell them things your spouse does not know, that you are wrong. Change it. That's one of the reasons you're having issues in your marriage. Change it. Let your spouse be number one. Now I'm hurrying up to finish. Our time is fast spent. And number 5, create boundaries. You must create boundaries. It is because you don't create boundaries that's why infidelity can happen. So you're a woman, somebody is sending you messages. You know, because you can't tell me you don't know the person is hitting on you. You're of age. You know very well when someone is hitting on you. You know this person is hitting on you and you're smiling. And you're saying, well, we're not really doing anything. It is from text messages, it will turn to phone calls, it will turn to visits, then full-blown sex. So set boundaries. When somebody is crossing a boundary, because you have set it, you'll be able to tell the person, I'm so sorry, I can't really encourage you sending me this kind of message. It doesn't take anything. Set boundaries. There's somebody, when we first got married, one of the people I had relationships with before I got married sent me a message, just a harmless message. My wife said, I don't like this person send you a message. Immediately, because my wife is more valuable than any other person. This person, I don't even know where she is. Immediately, she sent me that message. I just sent her. Immediately my wife said it. I just set a boundary. I sent her a text. I said, please, I can no longer communicate with you. I'm married now. And I deleted her number from my phone. I set a boundary. It's not that difficult. Everybody needs to set that boundary. I told you about that ebook, How to Stop Your Spouse from Cheating. Everybody should go and get that ebook. It will help you to set boundaries. Even the boundary for family and friends, you need to set boundaries. How are these people influencing you in your marriage? Set boundaries and let everybody know. And finally, number 6, build your relationship with God. Build your relationship with God. Nothing beats that. Hello, are you listening to me? Nothing beats having a genuine spiritual walk with your Creator. So build your relationship with God. Stop playing with it. Stop taking it for granted. Stop feeling, is it not God? I can just fluke it. No, consciously build, because God is love. So if you build your relationship with God, it means love will enter into you. And if love enters into you, you can flow that love into your spouse. So some of the things you are struggling about is because God is not there. God is not with you. And for the person that I'm talking to, that you have backsliding, big time. You know who you used to be. Maybe in the university, you even used to be the Papa. Or is it in NYC? You used to be the Papa. You used to be FCS president. Ask yourself, where are you now in your relationship with God? Because your relationship with God is supposed to grow. So where are you? When you rebuild your relationship with God, you will find it easy to have a relationship with your spouse that will last. And this is where we come to the end of today's teaching. And I hope you got something. The little foxes that spoil the vine. And as we round up today, I want to remind you that we have a course that is happening for the singles, for the eligible singles. Anybody that is 18 years and above can attend this course. It's titled Becoming Mr. and Mrs. Please, you have people who are 18 years and above around you. Your children, your wards, your colleagues, they are not married. You are seeing them, young people. Some of them have even said they will not marry. It's because of fear. They are afraid of marriage. Please tell them to come for this course. The course is only 5,000 naira. So it's rock, but it doesn't, 5,000 naira now is a plate of food. So for that plate of food, we will take you for 3 days, because it's happening between the 7th to the 9th of November. 7th, 8th, 9th. 3 good days. We're going to be talking to the singles, teaching them about how to find the right spouse. So don't let them go through what you went through. Invite them. Tell them about it. The flyer, it's up. Tell them about it. And if you can, and many of you can, it's just 5,000 naira, please. Many of you can sponsor 5 people, 10 people. Sponsoring 5 people is just 25,000 naira. Sponsoring 10 people is just 50,000 naira. Many of you can afford this. There are people around you. Already registrations has been going on for some weeks now, and some of you who are listening to me have actually sponsored people. 2, 4, 5 people, you've sponsored them. Please continue. And if you've not sponsored, look for at least a minimum of 2 people. 2 people is just 10,000 naira. Look for 2 people, pay for them, and tell them to attend the course. It's for their own good, so that they don't struggle. It will be a sin to you that you struggled in your marriage, and then you now see young people that are coming up and you don't help them to show them the way to go. And the way to go is what we're about to show them. So point them in our direction and we will show them. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been so beautiful talking to you. I'm going to leave you now because we are in Benin tomorrow. And well, today and then tomorrow we're in Benin. We're going to have the TIP Summit Benin. And if you are in Benin or its environs, please come around. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be speaking to all the married and the singles at that conference. So that TIP Summit, it's happening in Benin live on Saturday, okay, live in Benin, and all the details you will get on our various social media handles. Be there. Please, if you come there, say hello to me, take a selfie with me, and let me just know that you're there. Are there conclavites who are in Benin or around? Please make sure you see me, make sure you say hello, and we will greet ourselves, and I'll be happy to put a face to the name. God bless you all. Thank you for all of you that have joined. I can see all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you have questions, I know that you may have questions from what I have said. Today, we're not taking questions here. But if you have questions, please send the question to that number that is scrolling on your screen also. Send the questions there and we'll pick it from there and we'll answer it live on our social media platforms so that you see. God bless you. God bless your families. Bliss and joy.